It's Friday night. It's 7 p.m. That means it's time for the Paul and Nicky Show. The greatest show on earth. Yeah!
Yay! I am not Nicky New.
And I'm not Paul Lyndon Britwell.
But this is the Paul and Nicky Show! Yay! We are back! After a week's absence because Nicky had a
I know, I wasn't very well.
poorly tummy.
I did.
So we couldn't...
Aches and pains and
stuff. Yeah. So we couldn't film last week, unfortunately. But we are back now.
Dan did tell me off phone. You have told me off. Yeah.
And I mean, what have you been up to since you got atomically pied?
Wow, just... I don't know what I wasn't very well, as we just said. And
do you think it was the pie that did that?
I think maybe, yeah. It's just a bit too much for me, you know. I'm just get a bit... I've had enough of the pie as it is.
Atomic
it's kind of the
rays
atomic,
of the pie.
so it's just a little bit too much for me, I think, you know. I need to get my own back, you know. I need to, seriously, you need to start getting pied now, but...
Yeah, we'll see.
So, yeah.
We'll see.
But, did you have a nice break? Because you had some nice time away, didn't you?
Yeah, we've been down to Poole in Dorset. We've been to Weymouth in Dorset. And we've also been to Brixham in Devon. So 3 lovely places.
And nice weather.
Lovely weather, nice hot weather. Started to shower a little bit on the very last day, but it was okay actually. It was still very warm, so nice.
Cool, that's good.
What about you? What you been up to?
Just general stuff, cutting hair, and looking after Josh and husband and house and everything else that he's doing all the time,
And next week, guys, we have got a very, very special episode to share with you. We are going to be going on location to the great Western Supermare.
The pier and the teddy machines.
So we're going to be doing games of insanity and maybe the ice cream cone challenge because we're probably not going to carry a pie with us, so we're going to get
so it'll be an
ice creamed in the face.
Which Archie said would just be a waste of money, which I do kind of agree with him on, to be fair.
It is what it is. So tune into next week's episode. We'll have a time at the beach and we'll have great fun filming that. So join us next Friday.
Nice weather. Yeah.
Great. Well, let's go over to
Freaky Facts.
Freaky Facts. Dedicated to Mr. Pete.
There we go.
There we are.
All right. Shall I start?
Yes. It's good. Yeah.
Now, we may have had this one before, but it gives us a lot of detail, so I'm going to go into it again. But did you know that a chicken once had its head cut off?
Yeah.
Yeah, have we heard this one before?
I think so, sorry. I just wanted to pretend that I hadn't then because I probably deflate you when I say that.
How long did it survive for?
We've done that before.
How long did it survive for? Can you remember?
It was a little while, wasn't it? I'm sure it was a little while. I can't remember how long.
Now, if this is the same thing, it survived for 18 months.
Wow, I don't remember.
A year and a half.
Wow.
They cut the chicken's head off and it lived for 18 months.
How did it live though? So
that head
to eat or anything? Or...
Well, it says on here that chicken brains are concentrated at the back of the skull, and it says there isn't much there to begin with anyway, and for this reason a decapitated chicken can survive for quite a while just living off its nerve endings. And he was called Mike the Headless Chicken, and it says the owner, a farmer named Lloyd Olson, chopped his head off in 1945, but the chicken just didn't die. So the family kept him around and dropped food and water directly into his esophagus. And after 18 months and considerable media attention, we have to look this up, it died.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure
they just kept on dropping food down into its neck.
I mean, really? But wouldn't that have, like, once the head was chopped off, wouldn't it have kind of healed? You'd think it would sort of heal over or do something. Do you know what I mean? Like when you cut yourself, the skin sort of, forms again, doesn't it? And it sort of heals. So you'd think like once... I don't know. I'm just saying.
Weird,
I'm just putting that out there. You'd think like something.
Do you think Nicky would survive for 18 months if we just dropped food and water into her mouth, just every day, and she just swallowed it?
I'd rather not try that. Thank you very much.
Social experiment.
I'd rather not try that.
I'm not saying we chop your head off. I'm just saying we kind of like
Just
Drop
download
into your
food and water into
Isn't that
your
weird
mouth.
though? 18 months
Yeah.
without a head.
That's weird. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if it carried on like walking around and stuff.
Well,
or whether it was just like a body sat there that was like living, but not
I
dead.
suppose if it's the nerves and everything is still all going, and I don't know. But then if it hasn't got a brain, how does it know how to move and do anything?
Yeah, and what's kind of
That all
firing the
comes
signal
from
for the nerves?
So, yeah, I don't quite.
We will have to
That's
research
weird.
this further,
That
but I
is
think I
weird.
got this from National Geographic, and they're not a website to
Yeah.
lie, are they? They're Nat
I
Geo.
thought so.
No.
I wouldn't have thought
Okay.
so. Oh, okay. Okay, right, next one then. Fear of public speaking is the most common phobia. I think we may have shared this before, actually. Ahead of death, spiders, or heights. The National Institute of Mental Health reports that public speaking, anxiety, and glossophobia affects about 73% of the population.
Wow.
The underlying fear is judgment or negative evaluation by others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that then?
I used to when I first started speaking.
Yeah, I think, I would. I used to before I'd share anything. But I suppose the more you do something, the less of a problem it becomes.
Yeah, I was going to say, at first I worried about what people would think of me. Then after a while,
just
you do. I mean, with everybody,
like anything,
you get a lot of
isn't
people
it?
that praise you, and equally you get the same amount of people who tell you that you're not good enough or criticising what you said or how you said it. And then after a while, after all the praise and the negative, and you just keep on getting the barrage of that, you just think, in the end, am I happy with what I said?
Yeah.
Am I happy with what I did? Is God happy with it?
Yeah.
And if you can honestly say that God is happy and that you're happy, then it doesn't matter what people think.
No, exactly right. No, that's it. That's good. That's how you got to be, isn't it? Otherwise, you wouldn't do a thing, would you? Be worrying about.
Yeah, it'd drive you mad otherwise.
It might offend that person if I say
drive
this.
you
It might
mad.
not do that. Da, da, da. You could say that could apply to so many things, and I think that's why some people have such anxiety and problems in life, because they're so concerned about what the next person might think about them, and so therefore they don't actually achieve a lot of the goals or do a lot of the things they may want to do because they're so afraid of looking silly or, like you say, negative kind of words their way and criticism and that. So, and that's sad, isn't it? Because you can't live like that. You only live here once, isn't it? So it's like you need to make the best of that,
Do not go through life worrying what people will think of you. Just do it. Have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Because there'll be people who will praise you, people who will criticize you. That will never change. And just keep going.
And obviously when we go
Pursue your
on
dream.
into all eternity, it's quite different then, isn't it? It's a different life to what this is now.
Completely
So you
different,
might as well make the best of now and just...
You're only here the once, so just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Have fun doing it, and then go and meet God.
Yeah.
That's it. And don't worry about people.
Yeah.
All right, so here is another fact. As Torek noted on Reddit, whoever Torek is, I don't know who that is, it takes a while for children to get kneecaps.
Oh, yeah.
And that part of the skeleton is called the patella.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nutty taste, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Patella.
Yeah.
It starts out as cartilage and then ossifies into bone at around the toddler's age of 3.
Oh,
So little Joshy doesn't have any kneecaps.
It's weird,
Isn't that weird? You have to have a feel later.
I don't want to feel because it'd just be like...
It'd be like squidgy cartilage.
Yeah, I
at the
don't know
moment.
if I'd want to...
Have a little-
I'd probably
have a
feel
play
weird for
later.
him as well. Oh no, probably
Oh, yeah, love
funny,
it.
like...
Trust me, little babies love it. But have a feel later, see if he's got anything that's forming into a kneecap at the moment.
Yeah, funny the thought
It's
of
weird,
that.
kneecaps. What's their purpose? Apart from banging into tables. What else do they do?
Banging into tables.
Bang, there we go. That's what the kneecaps
I
for.
suppose they kind of help us bend our legs, but I don't know. How come babies bend their legs, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the joint's already there, but the kneecap floats on top.
Obviously just sort
It's like
of
a little bit of a shield, isn't it?
solidifies it. I don't know, like kind of
Yeah.
strengthens it and,
Weird.
Yeah, all right.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Right.
That was cool. Right, okay. Apparently, so rats multiply so quickly that in 18 months, 2 rats could have over 1 million descendants.
In 2 months.
2 months. Yeah.
Hey, rats can have...
2 rats.
Two rats?
Sorry, could have... So hang on, no. Let's get that right. Rats multiply so quickly that in 18 months...
18 months.
2 rats could have over 1 million descendants.
18 months. I
18
wonder
months, so a year and a half,
how
2 rats. You can have, I don't know, I've got no idea. It's got to be a different to,
Must be very
obviously, it must be
quick.
very quick. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that, but yeah, it's
Their
got to be
children
very
and their
quick.
grandchildren have to have, yeah, wow.
That's just like,
So that's
it
why
must
there
be
were so
quite
many rats running
painful
around
for the
everywhere.
poor females.
There we are.
Yeah, there we are.
On
Yeah.
that bombshell.
Yeah.
Silly putty. You ever played with silly putty?
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it? Kind of bounces and it
It's like
stretches.
all, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, silly putty, the weird, bouncy, rubbery thing, that became a best-selling toy in the second half of the 20th century, by the way, has some weird physical properties. It's a non-Newtonian fluid, whatever that is,
Whatever, yeah.
which means it sometimes acts like a liquid and sometimes like a solid. Some YouTube experimenters showed exactly what that means. Dropping 50 pounds of silly putty from the top of a parking garage or garage, instead of bouncing back up, it shatters like glass and makes a crashing noise.
Strange, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So if you drop it like a little bit, it'll bounce.
Bounce.
If you've got enough of it and it's heavy, if you drop it from high up, it'll shatter like
Shatters.
glass.
Weird, isn't it?
I want to try that.
How does that even work? Because what's the science behind that? I'd be interested to know how that. Do you know what I mean? This is like putty stuff, and
Yeah, it says it's a non-Newtonian fluid, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So it defies Newton's laws of
yeah.
solid, liquid, and gas. Maybe it's a
Weird.
mixture of the two, and that's why it's
It'd be
silly.
interesting to try that, wouldn't it? From like right at the top of the house and just drop a load and see what happens.
It says it's £50 they dropped. That'd be quite expensive to buy £50
yeah, I
worth.
was going to say.
Maybe it has to be heavy enough to shatter.
Yeah. And you have to be careful if you do experiment with that. There's nothing around that can, like cats and stuff, walk on it if it turns into glass. That's not great, is it? If it goes all sharp or whatever,
Yeah, I don't know if it stays like
Does
a
it
solid
stay like
after
that
or whether
then, or
whether
what?
it comes back to being a putty
Yeah.
again. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you have in your home £50 of putty lying around, silly putty,
Give it a go.
then drop it from the top of your house, film it, and send it into the Paul and Nicky show
Be
because we'd love to
safer
see.
first. Make sure there's nothing around. Yeah.
Make sure there's no cats around or anything.
Dogs,
We'd love to see
children,
what happens with that. That'd be fantastic to hear from you. Absolutely.
Yeah, good, yeah.
All right.
Right.
What do you got now?
Okay, apparently, according to, I'm going to go with this one actually, 'cause it's a bit longer. According to Guinness World Records, the first person to be charged with speeding was Walter Arnold of the English village of Paddockwood, Kent. On January 28th, 1896, Arnold was spotted going 4 times the speed limit in his 19th century Benz, but since the speed limit at the time was just 2 miles per hour, that meant he was not going
8
too
miles
fast by
an
today's
hour.
standards. The constable had to chase him down on his bicycle. Constable, couldn't say it. Has to chase him down his bicycle, issuing a ticket for 47. That must be like pounds. Is that right? It just looks a bit weird. And earning Arnold.
Oh no, I think that's £4.7
I was going to
shillings.
say.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking it wouldn't be back then. It looked a bit.
£4, that'd be a lot of money, wouldn't
That's
it?
right. £4.7, and earning Arnold the speedy distinction.
Wow.
Yeah.
8 miles an hour.
And you think of how slow, like 20 miles per hour feels. That feels extremely, when you go into a 20 mile per hour zone, that feels extremely slow as it is.
Why did you have to chase him down on his bike? He could have walked faster than that.
I don't know. Perhaps everything was just slower and they couldn't really run that fast either then as well. Maybe everything was slowed down. I don't know.
They should do like a Fast and Furious film back in the was it
yeah, back in the
19th
1896. Yeah. So
1896, where everyone's travelling around at breakneck speeds of 8 miles per hour. What a boring film that would be,
that would be quite comical though.
eh? Right, what are we going over to now? We are going over to
The Games of Insanity.
Games of Insanity!
The Games of Insanity!
Yay! Okay, this
And
is going to
this
be
week
interesting.
we've got the blow-off game.
So we've both got a balloon and we have to blow it up and then let the air go and get all your cups off the table.
So it's the first
I think we
person
could
to
just
knock all
sort-
their
But then
cups
I
off.
think you should do one at a time. You're not supposed to do like 2 at a time, I don't think. I think you're supposed to do 1 at a time, just so you know.
No, come on.
No, you are!
No, you're
Because you could just do that
not.
in one swoop, couldn't you? And just...
If you got enough air.
You always change the rules.
There weren't any
You
rules
always have
to
to
begin
change
with.
the rules.
It was
It's like 1
knock
at
as
a
many
time.
caps off
It's
with your
1 at a time.
with your blow off as possible.
But then I don't know quite how we're going to do, because we're quite far from the, I suppose you just...
Did you want to do like a
it from
time
here.
limit? Do you want to time it, or should we
I
just
don't
do it
know,
at the same
what do you
time?
think? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should...
Let's do it at the same time.
Just do it at the same time.
Do it at the same time, I think
Yeah.
Right, here we go then.
So hang on. So what are we doing now? Because
we
you've
blow
just
them up?
changed the rules. I said 1 at a time. You're saying no. You have to do more.
Yeah, yes. For the sake of brevity.
Just changing it.
For the sake of brevity. Don't go bang in your face.
Pop.
That'll do me.
You got a fear of popping balloons as well.
Right, 3, 2,
I'm not good.
3, 2, 1, go! Yay!
That was rubbish. It would have been so much more fun 1 at a time. You totally ruined it because that was just too quick.
Still got loads of air left, look.
That was too quick.
Right. Yay!
Yeah, like 1 at a time. It's supposed to be next time we need to do that as a 1 at a time one.
That, folks, is how you blow
Do
off
that
like
again.
a professional.
1 at a time.
Don't forget I said that. Right, okay. We're now going over to joke of the week.
Okay,
What you got for us then, Nicky?
How are we going to do this? Just deliver it normally, or are we just going to like? I'm just going to do it my own
Okay,
way. Okay,
whatever.
right. What did one party hat say to the other?
I don't know what.
Read it.
Oh, all right. I did it.
I'll stay here, but you can go on ahead.
On ahead.
Yay!
Right, here's mine. Who invented King Arthur's round table? Circumference?
Okay. Where do all the policemen live?
Where do all the policemen live? I don't know. Where do all the policemen live?
999 Let's Be Avenue.
Let's be Avenue! Okay. Is your iPad making you sleepy? Just remember, there's a nap for that. A nap. A nap for that.
A nap app. Oh, there's a nap app. It's
Nap
actually
app.
a new nap app.
You can download
The nap
an
app.
app for a nap.
For a nap.
You press it and it
Okay,
gives you
that's the
permission to
nap
have
app.
5 minutes sleep.
I'm going to look that up. The nap app. Yeah. Okay.
Right,
okay. What do you call a hungry horse?
I do not know. What do you call a hungry horse?
An empty GG.
An empty GG.
An empty GG.
What does that mean?
Because it's empty,
Yeah.
it's hungry, and a GG for the horse. They call the GGs, don't they?
Yeah.
So an empty GG.
Empty GG.
Because it's hungry, it's an empty GG.
Yeah.
Wow, that was good. I mean, it sounds still registered in your head. That was
What does it say?
good.
An empty GG.
An empty GG. Yeah. What's so bad with that?
I don't understand why they've got it as like EMT
Yeah.
GG.
Well, it's just how you say it, just empty.
GG.
Empty.
Okay, cool. I'm not getting that.
Okay.
It's alright. Alright. I have a friend whose bakery burned down last night.
Yeah.
Now his business is toast.
I'm sorry, I had to think of what you said.
You'd be mean.
You had a friend in what? Say that again?
I'm not saying that again. You got it the first time. If you want to know what that is, just rewatch the show and you'll get it the second time. Yeah.
Shall I do one more? I've got loads more here actually, but we don't have to. Are we moving on?
One more.
Okay.
Yeah.
A man walks into a store with a goose on a lead. Shopkeeper says, "What do you think you're doing?" He says, I'm just taking a gander.
Oh, goose for a gander. Yes. Very nice. Right, we are now moving over to
Holy Ghost Gossip.
Holy Ghost Gossip.
And the subject today is, well, the question today is, many people believe they'll go to heaven because they've tried to live a good life. Is this true?
It is true if you have lived a totally good life. And that's where the issue arises.
Yeah.
And why does the issue arise there, Nikki?
Well, because nobody has, because we're
Ever
all
lived
born into sin, aren't we? So.
A good life, yeah. It's a little bit like if you were to get a letter through the post inviting you to go and see the Queen of England for afternoon
I think
teas.
you'd like to meet the Queen because you always talk about the Queen.
I do talk about the
I think you'd love to meet the
Soon
Queen.
it'll be King Charles, most likely. We'll
Yeah.
see King Charles.
I think I'd like to meet the Queen. Yeah, go on.
But if we were invited, like the Paul and Nicky show,
Yeah.
because obviously the Queen watches this show and she enjoys it.
Yeah, she obviously loves it.
One day we get a letter from her saying, "I love you to come to the palace." That's a rubbish impression, isn't it? Can you do a better impression of the Queen?
I don't want to
laugh at
try.
that then.
I don't want to try. I don't want to try because I'll just look
Would you
ridiculous.
like to come to the palace and have afternoon teas with me and my corgis?
No, I'm not going to try.
No, it's
I'd
hard.
like to see the corgis. Yeah,
I'd like to see the corgis as
puppies.
well.
Yeah.
And if me and Nikki turned up there, can you imagine if we turned up in like nice clothes, but we had like runny egg that kind of dripped down the front of us, or like an oil patch where we've been fixing our car, or like mud on our knees. You can pretty much be certain that they would not let you in to see the Queen, because when you see the Queen, you have to look and smell and sound presentable. Otherwise, you're not getting into the palace to see the Queen. And it's the same in a sense with God, in that God will not let anything into heaven that is not totally good or totally pure.
Yeah, that's why we need Jesus, isn't it? To purify us, pretty much, isn't it? And make us right with God. It's like that sort of barrier, isn't it? Where we've kind of been born into sin through the fall. And then the only thing that can put us right is Jesus, hence his death on the cross and dying to put to death all sins.
Yeah.
So you can't, it's just not, even if you think you're a good person, and obviously there are a lot of good things that people can do, but I suppose it's like comparing that in God's eyes, you'll never match his goodness, because it's just like another level. But when I say another level, it's like another billion levels, isn't it, compared to our goodness?
Yeah.
So...
And we always, or most people, 9 out of 10 people would say that they're a good person.
Yeah.
So I think, like, as a classic example, this is an extreme example, but this kind of illustrates the point. Adolf Hitler considered himself to be a benefactor of the people. He considered himself to be a good person. And this is a man who, you know, his conscience was so hard, he would quite happily murder millions upon millions, murder people to further his own agenda. And he considered himself to be morally good. And that's kind of the deceptiveness of the heart. Is that we all think we're good enough to go to heaven, but really when we look at the lies that we've told, or the things that we've stolen, or the way we've not honoured God, we've misused God's name, when we look at ourselves according to his standard, we are all morally deficient.
Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up, really, doesn't it?
It does.
Sums it up in a nutshell.
Now we're going over to...
Oh boy, it's time for the Pie Face Challenge!
The Pie Face Challenge! And of course, as the COVID restrictions have lifted, we are now back to pieing each other in the face with a cream pie. So one of us today is going to get a cream pie in the face, either myself.
I don't want it to be me. I'm fed up with
Nicky.
it now. I'm tired of it. I'm actually tired of it. I'm tired of getting my face pied. Well, actually, I know it hasn't happened for a long time, but I had the atomic pie, really, I had to wash my hair like 5 times to get all the poo out. So it wasn't poo, but it was like poopty stuff. Yeah,
wasn't it? But to be fair, I did lose a few of those rounds in there. So you've got a game for us this week.
So my game is Skittles. Yay! Get your Skittles. And we have done this before, but it was a long time ago.
Ooh,
So
did you win it last time?
I wanted to do it again.
Did you win it last time?
I don't know. Should we just do the whole pack, or is that going to be too much?
I won't do that. How long does it take? What we got to do first?
Well, the problem is because it has to be the same. So what we have to do is separate all the colours into piles.
We'll be back in just a second. Okay, we are back. Apparently I didn't have to separate them just yet. That's the idea of the game.
Yeah.
And so the idea of the game is we tip these out onto the table and then we divide them into their separate colour groups. And the first person to separate them.
Separate them all. Wins. Yay!
Wins. Yay!
Hang on.
What?
It already. It's already there, you see.
Look, your angle is way worse than mine. Your angle's way
like that.
All right, 5, 4, 3. Put it back. 2, 1. Put it back. Go. There you go, guys. Wow. This is harder than it looks. Harder than it looks. This is tricky.
This is tricky. This is very tricky.
You're kind of used to this picking up Josh's toys every night.
Yeah, tend to just chuck them in a pile these days. Just sort of think, really, I'm going to be here forever, sorting it all out. What is that?
It's the that song that goes to Rised.
Goes to what? I know it. I reckon. Yes, that weird song that you sent me. Yes, that really weird song.
This game is
Help me, Dan! Dan, help me!
first person shout high face challenge, okay?
Help me, Dan! Help me! Dan, help me!
Look how well I'm doing.
I'm in
High
challenge! I'm on!
Let me just check the colours first.
They're perfectly fine. You can't dispute that. They're in line.
Oh, there's a green one over there!
Paul gets a pie.
That was close. That was so close. Okay, alright. Alright, we'll play by your rules. We'll play prison rules.
That means you need to pass me that pie stuff right now.
Alright. You have to think of something for me to say though.
What? You got? Oh yeah, I haven't even thought of that. We haven't done that for such a long time.
Alright, here we go. Oops, sorry. There we are then.
Right. Yay!
Here we go, folks.
I don't think he was expecting that.
Let me just move the microphone down so I don't get it all in the mic.
This is so satisfying. Yeah, good. I don't have to redo my makeup.
This is the nasty stuff as well. This is the nasty foam that hurts.
Well, you chose it. You bought it, so you only got yourself to blame.
It's a bit thin.
It is quite thin, actually, isn't it? This is a bit pathetic.
This stuff we usually get usually spans really nice.
There we go. There we go.
There we
It's
are.
the wrong angle.
It's all about the angles. It's all about the angles. Just gotta make sure my mouth is shut.
I love this.
Nasty.
This is awesome.
Don't go overboard.
Yay! And a little face. Okay, so you need to talk to the camera and say, I officially deserve this for Atomic Pie and Nicky last week, or whenever it was, 2 weeks ago.
Let me finish speaking by the time it's on my left, right? It goes on you. Right, I officially deserve this for atomically pieing Nicky 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Right.
Let's see what's a new face. New face!
It's humiliation.
Thanks for having us!
See you next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. We hope you liked it. Now, what would be really nice is if you would subscribe to our channel and told all your friends about us, as this would advertise our show for free. And it would be really nice if you could do that for me. The Paul and Nicky Show, the greatest show on earth. Woohoo!